Superman and Lois deliver. Yeah, you know, another good episode. It's just a good show, all right? That's this one called Collision Course, and primarily because there is a car accident. The kids get up to no good, as high schoolers want to do. It starts out where Clark's saying, "Hey guys, let's hang out and stuff," and he even buys them tickets to a wrestling match, I think, something like that, whatever. But they want to go hang out at a kegger, which they do. Jonathan, his girlfriend's going to be in town for it, so that's why he wants to go there. Jordan hears Sarah's going to be there. Oh, okay, I'll go. Because he's still hung up on her. They have a bad spat because it looks like she's becoming more interested in the late mayor's son, whom she comforted when he was all upset, because his dad's dead, And they do craft it rather well. That is that kind of awkward thing where Jordan tries to fit in with all of that. And now he's like, oh, there's another guy involved, stuff like that. And they do craft it well. It's like, that's kind of how that goes, in a teenage love and all that. And then she's irritated with him. And let's just be friends. But the realization of it's too close and too much emotion. Let's just be acquaintances and not hang out together. That's the only way. And if she's upset with it, that's too bad. That's too much to ask for him to just walk away from his feelings for her when she walked away from hers for him and said, hey, it's fine with me, cutting some slack. Now, in this case, she didn't invite him to this thing or anything. So this is on him and keeps trying to get back with her. And that is the case, So, meanwhile, the cops show up. Oh, no. So everybody scatters. And she hops in a car with Mayor Jr. I forget his name. And off they go. And they crash. That totals the car. And they would have died. But Superboy zips in and saves them. And he briefly gets seen by Junior, but he doesn't quite know who it is. He has his goggles on and that sort of thing. But meanwhile, Kyle's beginning to suspect something's going on here and that it's not Superman. And he begins to suspect that Jonathan is the superpowered one. And he confronts them over this, and this forces Clark to more or less reveal himself. And he has to fly away because Lois is in danger at this point. And so now Kyle is in the circle because Lana knows and Sarah knows. So now pretty soon everybody's going to know. Meanwhile, Kyle is just, how come I didn't see it? Just because of the glasses? So the other story is Pia is in there. She and Lois, they let Lois talk to her because Lois thinks she can get her to talk. And she does. She tells her whole story. Mostly about her and Bruno, and that whole thing, and she gets very close to admitting that yes, they framed Lex Luthor, but who cares? He was a monster anyway. But he's serving prison for the crime they framed him for, not the ones that he actually did, and all of that. And meanwhile, Bruno is bringing his son in. He showed him he has the corpse of Bizarro. And he says the experiments on this is going to cure his mother's cancer. And so they feel sorry for the kid, so they let him in. But it turns out one of his cufflinks has a miniature syringe there and injects his mother with this supposed cure. And it restores all her powers and her strength. And so she blasts her way out with Lois as a hostage. And she escapes. Makes it back home to Bruno and her son, and they all get together and have a nice family hug, and it's all sweet with the dead body of Bizarro laying on a stretcher behind them. And there you have it. But it's well crafted because most of it, again, it's more of the soap opera aspects of the show, but they perform it well. And there's even Clark is very irritated with the boys because they lied to him about where they were going, and then Jordan actually drank a beer all this type of stuff. Although with his Kryptonian DNA, it probably could not intoxicate him. But nevertheless, they blew him off because he wanted to spend time with them, and they blew him off because they wanted to go party with their friends and all that stuff. So he's more hurt about that than the obvious damage that happened here. But in actuality, had he not been there, Sarah and what's his name, Mayor Jr. Would be dead because the car is total and everything, you know. And again, it shows the money spent on this show because the crash was well shot and everything. So, still don't know if this will get picked up for another season, which would be unfortunate, but understandable. I don't see how it stays on the CW. They've made their announcements and cuts, and they've got to move on for cheaper, reality shows and that sort of thing, in the hopes that they can make it a profitable entity, which it never was, So hopefully, just to give it a good send-off, a fourth season, I think it's earned that, and HBO Max could give it a final season on the site and be a part of their DC platform. And then by the time they've done all that, they'll be ready to move on with their new Superman movie franchise. So, and just, it's a part of the, they got the map of the different shows they got, and you just count Superman and Lois as part of their Elseworlds brand, alongside the movies of Batman and the Joker and that stuff. So, hopefully, they can make some room for it. It might be not a shorter amount of episodes and whatnot, but if they can craft a good send-off for it, I think that would be rather nice, because it's a complete good show, and it's an anomaly in the current era of how this happens. And so for that alone, I think it deserves another shot. So anyway, Collision Course, good episode, and look forward to the next one.